consoles along the way to stretch out how much more content they could add yearly. Um, and eventually, let's be real, it's going to reach a point where we're going to be paying as much for Nintendo Switch Online as we do for its competitors. And when we get to that point, then another conversation is going to be had. So, today we discovered, well, not today, it was yesterday. I'm just now getting a recording, but yesterday, Nintendo revealed the price, how much it would cost for the Nintendo Switch Online expansion pack with the Nintendo 64 games and the Sega Genesis games, alongside some additional DLC for Animal Crossing to no extra cost, but we'll get to that. And they said $50. So they jumped the shark on that. The last time we had a discussion about Switch Online, I said, once it started getting to a point where they were charging about the same amount as PlayStation and Xbox's services, a different conversation would have had to been had. And I mean, off the bat, it looks like we're going to have that discussion, because myself and many others thought the most they would do is double the price. Because, okay, we have 2 streaming services now, they're going to add 2 more, it's worth about double. But that is simply just not what they decided on, and it's really disappointing. It's not surprising because they can get away with this, but the issue is, and for me it happened at a perfect time, because a lot in the last week I've just been watching videos about like retro handhelds, a lot of good channels that discuss like emulation devices. And it's funny because Nintendo is charging out the wazoo for ROMs, for access to ROMs. And granted, you could get a emulation handheld for like $45, like a on the lower end, $45, and it comes with like thousands of Game Boy, NES, SNES, GBA, all of that. Granted, emulation is illegal, and there's a lot of moral red areas that comes with that, but you look past that when Nintendo is having practices like this. Because let's be honest, the $20 price point, because there was a point where Nintendo Switch Online was $10. That was before SNES. The $20 price point was justifiable to an extent. Now, like I said in my video that I made a little back about the problems of Switch Online, the $20 price point was justifiable to an extent. I really thought that they would do $40, because now we're in a zone where it's really outrageous paying $50 a year, especially when, if you're more than just a Nintendo fan, you're already paying $60 for your PlayStation or your Xbox. $50 from Nintendo gets outrageous when you consider that it's not worth paying that much for the online service in general. It's not worth paying that much for access to ROMs. Like, you could play 100% of these games for free on your own merit, as long as you have a device that's capable of it. And they're charging, and again, this is all under the veil of it being optional. You don't have to get the expansion pack, but even making a consumer pay $30 because they want to access a legal vendor of these legacy games, because that's Nintendo's crutch. They love to just spam their legacy games, because even myself, I think about it. When I was little, I was paying all this money for Virtual Console on the Wii Shop channel, and then I did it again on the eShop channel for the Wii U, and now we're doing this where I'm about to pay $50 by choice, but even still, I'm about to pay $50 a year for access to the same games that I've been accessing with separate payments for over a decade and a half now. And it's the sad point that comes is that it only gets worse from here. Like, if they charged $40, there would be room for, okay, this could get worse. But the only thing they could do is add another console, and then it's $70 or $60, and then that's really like off the table. Because while it's cool to have access to this legacy content, depending on what you're interested in, like NES, SNES, Genesis, N64, it's the main thing Nintendo Switch Online is an online service. And the online servers for Switch Online are not as good as the ones from PlayStation Plus, from my personal experience. I don't know how good the Xbox servers are, but I'm sure it's clear of the Switches. So then it gets to a point where it's just you have to look at everything, and it's like you're paying $50 a year to lag out in Smash Bros. And to play ROMs. So it's kind of just disappointing. You question, where does it go from here? Because like I said, it could only get so much worse. I know it was an Animal Crossing Direct, but I'm not like an Animal Crossing guy, so I didn't even look into it. I just saw the DLC is bundled with the expansion pack, which is cool. It's no additional cost, but I mean, let's be honest, $30 extra, I will consider that an addition. I would consider that part of it, just to make myself feel better, because it's really ridiculous. And it's not like the games we're getting at launch are fruitful either. It's a small handful of N64 games, and I think like a little bit larger of a collection of Genesis titles, and it's just not justifiable. Like I had mentioned in a previous video, this is a perfect format for the modern day for Nintendo to release their legacy content, a subscription service, because they make an exponentially higher amount of money from it. But the damning factor in that is that it's not worth it. Think of, I just keep using PlayStation Plus as an example because I'm a PlayStation user. But think of PlayStation Plus. They give you access to a superior online service, and then every month you get to play 2 free games that are usually of the current generation, or of like PS. I don't even think it's of PS3. It's just older PS4 games, but those are still full current generation video games that were going for like $60 by itself like a year ago or something like that. And that adds up. That's 24 of those games a year. That's a price point that is worth just way higher than what you're getting from Nintendo Switch Online. Because I can't go on a free emulator and emulate The Last of Us 2. You know what I mean? I'm sure that they're getting close to that. in the emulation community, but still, it's just, and knowing Nintendo, they would never even consider doing that. Imagine every month you would get to play a new game. Like, let's say you didn't get Breath of the Wild, or you didn't play Yoshi's Woolly World, and you have access to that for, even if it's for a month, you have access to that because of your online, your commitment to the NSO service. They would never do that, and it's just disappointing. I keep saying disappointing because I want to say it's disgusting, but that's the thing about Nintendo. We love them because there's a historic factor. There's the on brand of Nintendo where it's like, it's family friendly, but it's these iconic characters and good platforming and good this and good that. But then it's just this dark cloud that's hovered them for years, and it's just the greediness that comes with them being a company well aware of what they can take advantage of. And that advantage is their legacy content. Nobody has stronger legacy content access than Nintendo. You know what I mean? Like, PlayStation has some good games from the 90s, from the first PlayStation. But Nintendo just has too much history. So it's just sobering, where it's like, okay, this is what we're doing now. So I don't know what happens next. I had a video, trying to predict what console comes next. But to be honest with you, if it's 50 now, I don't want any more consoles. I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm better off just, getting a little, one of those retro emulation consoles. I'm better off just pay one flat fee and then just, enjoy thousands of games whenever I want, whatever I want, rather than, this cherry pick collection that you're paying $50 a year for. It's not it. So I've been venting for about 12 minutes now. I'm gonna stop. This is, another unscripted. It's just my initial reaction. I was gonna make a script for this, but I didn't really know what I wanted to say in a structured way, because it's really just pure. It's just pure initial reaction off of that, seeing that price point. It's just like, wow. But, let me know how you feel about $50 for Switch Online plus the expansion pack. I just made a video. I just made a 40-minute video on the best Nintendo game of every year. So if you didn't see that, check it out, please. And I will see you in the next video. Peace.